I just thought I'd have another little chat about. I have over the last couple of decades, I've been really interested in the idea of real-time collaborative compositions, and I think sometimes people will talk about composing a song or improvising, and often it's improvising over a song, as opposed to what I like to think about as generating a something that would sound like a composition, but it's not necessarily jamming or in the conventional sense where it's like kind of noodling over the top of something, or even playing a really developed solo. There's a particular thing which I've been really interested in, and so I just thought I'd just share with you some of my concepts, not to say this is the only way to improvise or anything like that, but I'm not really sure what to call it, but I do have I often find myself really wanting it when when I'm improvising with other people. So I just thought I'd share this. So here's I've got a couple of just general principles for this type of collaborative real-time composition. First one is that every piece that we're playing has a beginning, middle, and an end, and and maybe one person is the seed generator of the idea or the beginning point, and it could be a drummer, it could be a bass line, there could be some sort of simple rhythm that everybody can generate off. Okay. And what usually works, I find, is that you have a seed generator, and then they'll kind of come up with the core essence of the first part, and that everybody will have an opportunity to sort of come in and be part of that. In the context of a larger kind of gig, you might choose, oh well, only one or two of the four people or the five people, but and that can kind of create new types of textures. But for the general rule, and I often suggest that we cycle who's the seed generator at the beginning of a composition, so you get different types of thinking every single time. If it's a hi-hat happening, or if it's a bass line, or if it's a little guitar part, or even just some kind of weird moody sounds, and then something happens. So for me, having something at the beginning, and each of the different sections are a kind of essentially that, so that there is a person who is the instigator of the section, and then everyone will follow that. And it's good to start with the first one, and what happens next is often who's got the best idea. So the second part is solos don't need to happen in every single song, but clear motifs and groove statements can be improvised and then returned to. And that's a real big thing for me, is improvising something and then remembering, oh, that's a cool thing, or that's a clear motif, and remembering that you have a clear motif and then referring to it later on. And there's, if you know anything about different classical kinds of forms, ternary form, or there's 5-part sections or whatever. But I mean, ABA is cool too, or A B, or ABBB, or whatever. And you can have whatever structure you like. But one of the crucial parts for me is in this process of, once you've got your basic idea, the third principle would be to leave space for others. If you've got an idea, don't make it a everything all sound all at once kind of idea. Maybe that's an approach, but it's a pretty limited approach for everybody else, and so I would say try to avoid that. So leave space in your idea for others. So if that means don't do a melody that lasts, it covers every single beat. Don't play chords on every single beat. Don't play bass lines on it. All that kind of stuff. You want to leave space so that people can respond to. And this is a conversational approach. Not everyone's good at listening in a conversation, but I would say leaving space is the first part. I mentioned this before, but try to create different colors in the arrangement by having different duos or trios for whole sections. One of the most amazing things in communication is that it can be quite impactful for you to say nothing and not to respond. And then that can be freeing for other people, or it can encourage people to settle down a little bit as well. if you wait patiently for them to calm down, and then you can kind of move on. So communication by not saying things, or saying something clear. Uh, the fifth kind of idea would be to commit to a strong idea or layout until you can bring one in. So really avoiding what I call noodling is if you can't sing something, if you're just kind of making sound like kind of moving your fingers or whatever, that's not a strong idea for me. It should have a rhythmic component and some kind of shape. I mean, it doesn't have to be literally a melody, but it should have some kind of shape that has a beginning and middle end of the phrase. So yeah, so try to do something that's real clear and in such a way that other people will hear it and they'll know what you're saying. Why by this? And they'll be able to respond to it. But if it's kind of, I would say, blurry, where there isn't a super defined rhythm or a super defined movement, oh, this sound is going up or this sound is going down. There is a boom boom dun 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 dun. Something like that that people um, basically, if you've ever played the clapping game and with kids, is that you can kind of do that kind of rhythm, and the kids will get it. But there are certain types of rhythms that you can really catch kids at, and depending on the ensemble that you're in, people can hear the rhythms that you're playing or the nuances of it, or they can't. And if they so try to gauge where they're at as part of this musician, because it's important that you can hear what they're saying and that they can hear what you're saying, and so try to balance that out. And as people get more confident, their capacity to hear more goes up. So something to keep in mind. Um, let everybody or let each other know that you have a strong idea to bring in, like count it in and then nail it. So I would say in this kind of idea, which is if we're coming up to our next section, or that there's a sense of wanting to move to something else, use body language. Eye contact is a real pip. Or point at yourself and then count it in, and then do something really cool. Okay, so bring in a new creative idea. And so this this skill set is really about developing your capacity to audiate, to hear things before you can play them, before you play them. Sorry. And then be able to play the thing that you can hear in your head. So audiation is a crucial skill. If you're at the level of feeling it out, I don't really know what the sound is, but they're like, oh yeah, there it is. I mean, that's okay, and good luck to you. But audiation is a really important skill set for improvisation. Being able to hear what's around you, being able to predict what could sound cool next, and then being able to do it. Those are all great skills. Uh, Dynamics, it's amazing to the difference that it can be where you can pull the band down or bring it up, and this can get us moving away from having a kind of a wall of noise, because that's usually what you get. There's a wall of noise, or alternatively, something staying at a particular kind of a low tempo thing, and it's just be boring. If you were playing very quietly and very softly, playing something very loud right in the middle of it, and then going back to it can create tension, an expectation. Or alternatively, playing building, building, building up, and then hitting a cliff, and then suddenly it's quiet again, is also really impactful. So, good luck. Uh, so, being able to listen and to look for the next cue for section changes and ends. A lot of people can sometimes be very much focused on what's my hand doing, or focused on looking at themselves, their instrument, thinking about what they're doing. This skill set that I'm sort of suggesting really requires people to be doing the musical thing that they're doing, having coherent statements and being able to be aware of what is the rest of the band doing at the same time. And that's looking around in making those. If someone is wanting to cue in a new section, you have to be available and be able to see it to happen. Otherwise, you'll be alienated from that choice. And so it'll be kind of catching up rather than in tune with each other. And I think the final Uh, the final thing that I would say is that when you're playing, you have to have trust in each other. And sometimes just trusting people who, you don't know them, but acting as if you trust them and seeing what happens and putting them and being willing to put them in positions where you don't know if they're going to make it or not make it can sometimes be a really rewarding thing. Uh, putting people in a position where they're suddenly the only person playing and they feel a little bit uncomfortable about it. No, that's okay because that's going to create growth for everybody. But trusting other people and trusting in their innate human capacity to be creative if they're given the opportunity is a big part of it. And I would say that the other part of that is to be trustworthy as well. And that's something that's built up over time. Uh, so, but it's also if you're doing a lot of eye contact and looking at each other, it's much easier to trust each other because you know that the person's actually listening to you. Whereas if someone's not, not doing the eye contact, or who's frowning and looking disappointed, or they're very much in there, oh, I should be doing this, that's also, it's not something that's easy to trust, because it might be about ego or something like that. So I just thought I'd just share with you some of these ideas, and yeah, if it's useful for you, great.